When we go through life, a lot of times we meet people that are very special, very unique. And I'd like to tell you about such a person, such a rare individual. Sadly, he is no longer with us. He passed. And with that passing, there comes this sense of emptiness, this sense of loss, profound loss. I feel it, and all the people that knew him feel it. And I wanted to tell you guys about him. I almost feel like I have to, because I don't want his memory to just fade away. Welcome back to the G-Spot. This is a special episode. Today we're going to deviate from our usual storytelling and talk about a man that played a pivotal role in many of my cases. I'd like you guys to meet him. His name was Richard Quinones, and he was a prosecutor with the LA DA's office for many, many years. We've handled cases together. He on one side, I was on the other. Rich was a very unique person. You see, he wasn't after a conviction necessarily. He would try to look at the big picture. Whenever I would bring him evidence, our defense evidence, he wouldn't look at it and think, okay, how do I get around this? How do I convict this guy despite what the defense showed me? He would ask a more fundamental question. He would look at the case and try to find out what really happened. I have to be honest with you guys. There are a lot of prosecutors like that, very similar to Rich. They're not just after a conviction. And I work with them every single day. And you guys know who you are. So thank you. Thank you for being that way. And honestly, that's the way a prosecutor should be. It should not be about statistics. It should not be about convictions. It should be about justice. And that was Rich. He and I handled many cases together. And one of them that really stands out was a vehicular manslaughter case. My client was 24 years old, and she just had dinner with her boyfriend, had a glass of wine, and was driving back home. She was on the freeway. She lost control of her vehicle, started spinning, and allegedly collided with a guy that was by the side of the freeway talking on the call box because his car ran out of gas. And so when she came out of her car, the CHP had her do field sobriety tests, right? Touch your nose, jump on one leg, crow like a chicken, all that stuff, right? Well, she didn't pass him. Their position was she didn't pass him because she was intoxicated. She blew a .06. She was well below .08. My position was that she was just in a crazy accident. And she couldn't even stand on her 2 feet. Anyway, Rich and I were looking at the case. We were literally two fact finders. We were trying to figure out what actually happened. We were two friends looking for the evidence. We weren't adversaries. It was a good feeling because we were both after justice, after all, right? I was so impressed with how honest and how ethical Rich was that I sponsored one of his fundraisers when he was running for judge. Unfortunately, Rich is no longer with us. He passed away while surfing, something that he loved to do. It reminds me of a story that I heard many, many years ago. It takes place during biblical times, actually. 2,000 years ago, maybe. So this guy is in Jerusalem in an open air market, right? And he's looking at stuff that he wants to buy. And all of a sudden, he sees that the angel of death is staring at him from a few stalls away. So he panics. He jumps on his donkey and he gallops away. Well, galloping may not be the right word to use with a donkey, but he rides away as fast as he can. And he pushes this animal all day and all night. And finally, in the morning, they're both exhausted. He pulls to the side of the road. He sits down, closes his eyes, and takes a long drink of water. And all of a sudden, a shadow falls over him. He looks up, and the angel of death is standing right over him. The guy's shocked. He looks up and he says, "What are you doing here? You were just in Jerusalem yesterday." And the angel of death smiles and he says, I was also surprised to see you in Jerusalem yesterday when I knew that we were going to meet up today here by the side of the road. It's time. And so I guess the lesson of the story is that when it's your time, it's your time. And maybe there's nothing much we can do about that. But there's another lesson here, and that is whatever time we have here, use it wisely. Live every day to the fullest. Tell the people that you love them as many times as possible. And leave a legacy. If you're going to go, we're all going to go. Make sure that those that remain have a lot of good things to say about you. Just like Rich. I'm going to borrow a quote from the first Gladiator movie. A quote that we all know and love. Rich, I'll see you again, my friend. But not just yet. Not just yet. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Mr. G. This is my spot. And these are my stories.